but she was not shot, because that's been a rumor that's been going around that she's been shot. It was not shot. She was stabbed. Several times. Several times.
Some people don't just exist in a community, they are the anchor, the ones who build, who give back, and who bring everyone together. Joeline Turton was that anchor, a successful entrepreneur, a beloved mother, the heart and soul of South Los Angeles, but in a quiet moment on a street she knew well, her life was violently taken. Do you know someone like Joeline? A person who is all kindness and drive, who you'd never picture caught in a brutal, public conflict? It makes you wonder, if a person so focused on peace can meet such a violent end, what did she miss? What did everyone miss? This is the central question we'll explore. In this case, the more you learn, the more unsettling the questions become. What happens when a good person is deceived into a fatal confrontation, and the justice system leaves her community with no answers? What happens when a loved one is not just killed, but allegedly abandoned by the very person she trusted? This is a story about loyalty, betrayal, and a search for truth that is still happening today. If you want to help us bring light to stories like Joeline's, kindly like this video and subscribe to the channel. Welcome to True Crime Footprint, where we unveil the darkest mysteries and the most terrifying true crime tales. Kindly subscribe to this channel and turn on the notification bell, so you never miss any of our new stories. Your support keeps these stories alive. In the heart of South Los Angeles, Joeline Turton was a force of nature. At just 31, she wasn't just a business owner. She was the engine of her community. Her restaurant, Pepper's Jamaican Cuisine, was a local institution, a place cherished for its authentic oxtail and jerk chicken, a gathering spot for the Belizean community, a true cornerstone. But Joeline's drive didn't stop there. She was a serial entrepreneur who also ran a successful beauty supply store and a trucking company. Her sister found personal affirmations she'd written for herself. "I am a boss, I am an entrepreneur." These weren't just words, they were her life's motto. She actively hired people from the community, always finding ways to give back, a philanthropist in every sense of the word. To her family, Joeline was the most beautiful person, inside and out. Her mother described her as a peaceful person who doesn't bring harm to nobody, someone who was always trying to keep the family together, but her most important role was being a loving mother to her 11-year-old son, Endon. Joeline built her businesses, not just for herself, but to create a better future for him. She was an advocate, an activist, and a loving, unifying figure. This is why what happened next is so difficult to comprehend. The same woman who was celebrated for her peaceful nature found herself caught in a different kind of life, a life where a volatile and growing conflict involving her partner and his ex-girlfriend began to overshadow her world.
The young lady, who Joeline got into it with, her and some friends before this incident took place went to the restaurant and was harassing Joeline and provoking her, and it's just been an ongoing thing.
The harassment was persistent. It wasn't just an argument, it was a campaign of intimidation that had been going on for a long time. The ex-girlfriend and her friends were relentless, targeting Joeline at her restaurant. The conflict was a pattern, an escalation that was about to reach its breaking point. The mounting conflict wasn't a secret. For weeks, the ex-girlfriend and her friends targeted Joeline. It wasn't just a threat, it was an ongoing campaign of harassment that followed her from her personal life to the very place she built her legacy. Her cousin mentioned the ex-girlfriend constantly showed up at Pepper's Jamaican Cuisine, a deliberate and relentless attempt to intimidate her. This wasn't a sudden outburst. It was a slow, deliberate attack on Joeline's peace and her sense of security. According to her family, a final, direct message was sent. The ex-girlfriend reached out with a challenge, a deceptive invitation to finally meet and settle their issues. Joeline, wanting nothing more than to put an end to the intimidation, took the bait. She believed this would be the final conversation, the last time she would have to deal with the constant threats. But it wasn't a meeting, it was a planned ambush.
She got stabbed. She got into an altercation and got into a fight, and the other person stabbed her.
Can you imagine the rage that builds inside when you're a peaceful person, and the constant threat to your safety and livelihood forces you to take matters into your own hands? It's a choice made out of desperation, not violence. So Joeline, armed with the intention to finally put an end to the harassment, went with her friends to the designated location. She didn't go alone, but she was stepping directly into a trap. If you're finding this story as shocking as we are, kindly consider leaving a comment with your thoughts. It helps bring more attention to this unsolved case. On the evening of Thursday, July 17, 2025, Joeline and her friends arrived at the 1200 block of West 87th Street. The stage was set. This wasn't going to be a tense discussion, it was an ambush. Joeline and her friends were immediately outmatched by the group waiting for them. The situation turned violent in an instant, a flash of pure aggression. Initial reports from authorities were confusing. Deputies responded to calls of "shots fired" and began their investigation within that premise, but then came the devastating contradiction. The Los Angeles County Medical Examiner's report definitively stated the cause of death was multiple sharp force injuries. Joeline had been fatally stabbed, not shot. How did the initial report get it so wrong? What really happened in the moments before police arrived? These questions only deepened the mystery and the family's mistrust. But the most gut-wrenching detail of that night came from a close family source. Joeline was fighting for her life and her honor, all for a man she loved, and when the violence broke out, that same man, her partner, allegedly did something unthinkable. He didn't come to her aid. He left her dead in the street to help her murderer hide. She was left to die, not by her attackers, but by the one person she trusted. Seriously, the man she trusted left her to die. The very person she was defending abandoned her, allegedly to protect the person who took her life. In the immediate chaos, Joeline was rushed to the hospital, but it was too late. She was pronounced dead, leaving her family and community in a state of shock and disbelief. But their grief quickly turned to outrage. Joeline's cousin, Isabel Requena, publicly claimed that police mishandled the scene. She alleged they moved Joeline's body before anyone could apply pressure to her wounds.
They moved her body and no one was able to put pressure on her or anything. So, yeah, she was pronounced.
A community's trust in its institutions began to crack under the weight of these accusations. The official investigation by the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department was launched, but it was marked by a profound lack of resolution. No suspects were publicly named, no arrests were made. A case that seemed to have witnesses and a clear confrontation at its center began to stall. Then came the most devastating news of all for the family. The Los Angeles District Attorney made the decision to reject Joeline Turton's fatal stabbing case. The door to a formal trial was slammed shut.
I am Isabel Requena. I am the cousin of Joeline. Me and my family, we just left from court. I'm just kind of settling down a little bit, but it was a DA reject. They're saying because at the end of the day, both parties had opportunity not to fight each other, and pretty much my cousin shouldn't have pulled over there. To clarify some things, I was not there. My baby cousin is 30 years old. I'm 36. I have a lot of family. I have a lot on my plate. I'm into a lot of different things for the community and a lot of different stuff, right? So I'm just interceding for my family because death is not a stranger to me. I've been singing at funerals from 4th grade.
The community was left with a crushing sense of injustice. Why was the case rejected? What evidence, if any, was deemed insufficient? Did the initial confusion about shots fired compromise the investigation from the very beginning?
Let it be a lesson to all of us. Let it be a lesson to all of us. No matter how hard you are, no matter who, what, we all touchable. None of us is untouchable. We all could die. You know what I'm saying? None of us know our final second, minute, and hour. You know, it's tragic for both families. Unfortunately, it's my family who lost someone. You feel me? And I wish she didn't feel she had to prove nothing to these people.
For Joeline's family, the legal system had failed them, leaving the person who took her life free. If you believe stories like Joeline's deserve justice, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next video. we're committed to keeping these conversations going. In the wake of this legal dead end, the community refused to be silent. Mourners left flowers and notes at the storefront of Pepper's Jamaican Cuisine, a visible show of grief for the woman who had given so much. A GoFundMe was created not for funeral expenses, but for the future of her son, Endon.
So on the count of 3, we're going to release the balloons and y'all going to say, I love you, Joe, or whatever you guys want to say.
Okay. Everybody got their cameras? 1, 2, 3. We love
Community members organized a prayer circle and a lantern release, finding their own ways to honor her memory when the justice system could not. Joeline's life was cut short, but her legacy as a mother, entrepreneur, and community leader remained. Joeline's story is a raw and difficult look at what happens when personal disputes become deadly. There are 2 powerful lessons to take away from this tragedy. First, it highlights the danger of trying to settle disputes outside of legal channels. Joeline chose to meet in person to end the harassment, a decision that led her directly into a trap. This reminds us that when confronted with ongoing threats, the system, flawed as it may be, is often the only safe path forward. Second, this story is a cautionary tale about loyalty and betrayal. The heartbreak of Joeline being allegedly abandoned by the very person she was fighting for is a reminder to be careful about who we choose to trust. This case remains unsolved, and her family is still fighting for justice. They want to know why the case was rejected, and why the person responsible for Joeline's death walks free. Did you catch the moment her family revealed her partner's shocking actions? Rewind if you missed that detail. The story isn't over. Her family's fight for answers continues. Our hearts ache for Joeline's family. Words feel inadequate, but please know you are held in deepest sympathy and prayers. May you find strength and comfort in memories of Joeline. Thank you for watching, for your attention, and for joining us on this journey of reflection. Stay informed, stay vigilant, and above all, stay safe. See you on our next video.